Be me, 27, software developer, tired after 10 hours of staring at screens, take public bus home every day. Usually get a seat near the window. Today is no different. Sit down, plug in earphones, close eyes. 3 stops later the bus fills up. Woman boards, maybe 30s, healthy, no bags, no visible issues, stands near me. Stares at me. I pretend not to notice. She clears her throat. I look up. She nods at my seat like I owe it to her. I look around the bus. There are 4 other men sitting nearby, all of them already looking away. They know what is coming. She does not say a word, just stares. The social pressure is real. I feel it physically. I look back at my phone. Do not move. She makes a sound halfway between a sigh and a scoff, loud enough for the whole bus to hear. The man next to me immediately stands up, offers her his seat. She takes it without a thank you, sits down and scrolls her phone. He stands the rest of the way holding the rail. Nobody claps. Nobody says good job. He just disappears into the background. I am thinking about this the entire ride home. Why did she not ask? Why did she just stare? Why was the expectation silent and automatic? Get home, eat dinner, cannot stop thinking about it. Open my notes app and write it all down. Next morning, same bus, same route. Different woman this time. Older, carrying 2 grocery bags, visibly tired. I stand up immediately, offer my seat. She smiles and says, "Thank you. I feel genuinely good about it." Notice the difference in how I feel. One was a choice made from decency. The other would have been a surrender to silent pressure. The feeling is completely different. Start paying attention to this pattern every day. Some women ask politely. Some women just stare and wait. Some do not care at all and stand fine. The ones who stare and wait bother me. Not because they are women, but because the entitlement has no logic. I'm tired too. I am not a seat dispenser activated by gender. I am a person who worked all day, just like them. Maybe more, maybe less, who knows? Bring this up with my friend Marcus at lunch. Marcus is the kind of guy who gives up his seat every time automatically. He does not even think about it, says, "It is just manners." I ask him if a man stared at him like that, would he get up? He pauses. He says, "Probably not." I say, "Exactly." He says, "It is different though." Women have it harder in general. I say that is true in many ways. But does that mean tired legs transfer automatically? He has no answer. We eat in silence for a bit. He says, okay, he sees what I mean, but he still thinks men should just be gentlemen. I ask what a gentleman is exactly. He says someone who treats women with respect. I say treating someone with respect is not the same as treating them as fragile. He says that is not what he meant. We go back and forth. Neither of us changes the other's mind. But neither of us gets angry either. Just 2 guys confused by the same world. That weekend I visit my sister. She is 24, studying gender studies. I tell her the bus story. She immediately sides with the woman. Says women deal with harassment on public transport constantly. Says standing makes them more vulnerable. Says men offering seats is a small act of solidarity. I say, okay, but what about the staring instead of asking? She pauses. Says the woman probably felt uncomfortable asking. Says women are often ignored or mocked when they speak up. I say so, the solution is silent pressure. She says it is not ideal, but it is a survival strategy. I say I understand the reasoning, but the man who gave up his seat got no acknowledgement. She says men do not need acknowledgement for basic decency. I ask her if decency means doing something without choice. She says that is not what she means. I say then, what does she mean? She says men benefit from systems that favor them, so giving a seat costs nothing. I ask if she would give up her seat for a man if he stared at her. She says that is different. I ask why. She says because power dynamics are not symmetric. I say okay, but on a bus at 6 p.m. we are all just tired humans. She says I am oversimplifying. I say maybe she is overcomplicating. We laugh and drop it. On Monday, a coworker posts something in the office chat. An article about emotional labor and invisible burdens on women. The office chat goes quiet for a minute. Then someone replies with a thumbs up. Then another person, female, replies that the article resonates deeply. Then a male coworker says he never thought about it that way. Then another male coworker says these dynamics are real and men need to wake up. I watch all of this happen in silence. I think about whether any of these men actually changed anything, or if they are just typing the right words. I decide not to say anything. It is not worth it in an office setting, but the thought stays with me. There is a difference between genuine change and performance, and I cannot always tell which one I am looking at, and I wonder if other people can either. A week passes, I am back on the bus. It is raining and everyone is wet and grumpy. I get a seat again. This time a pregnant woman boards 2 stops later. I am up before she even looks around. All for the seat, she smiles wide, sits down relieved. I stand the rest of the way and feel nothing but fine about it. Later that evening I think about why that felt different. I wanted to help her specifically, not because someone glared at me, because she looked like she needed it and I had the ability to help. I think this is where the whole debate loses itself. People keep talking about rules. Stand for women, stand for elderly, stand for pregnant. But what about just reading the room like a human being? The rule-based version removes judgment, removes the actual human connection, turns men into vending machines of courtesy, and turns women into categories instead of individuals. I am getting too deep into this. I make some rice and watch a video about cars. But the next day at the gym, a guy brings it up randomly. He overheard me talking to Marcus apparently. His name is Devin. Big guy, quiet type, says he thinks about this stuff a lot. Says he always gives up his seat because he was raised to. I ask if he thinks that is a good reason. He thinks for a second. Says honestly he never questioned it. Says his mom would have been ashamed if he did not. I say I respect that. But shame is not the same as values. He nods slowly. Says he sees what I mean, but it feels dangerous to think this way. I ask dangerous how. He says if men stop doing these things, women will just suffer more. I say maybe the problem is the system that makes women dependent on male gestures. He stares at me for a second. Says that sounds like something his ex-girlfriend would say. I ask if his ex was wrong. He laughs. Says probably not, but it was annoying when she said it. We both laugh. Finish our sets. Walk out together talking about something else entirely. But something shifted slightly in both of us, I think. 2 days later, I see a post online. Man filmed on a bus refusing to give up his seat for a woman. Video goes viral. Comments are split exactly in half. Half saying he is selfish and entitled. Half saying she should have asked if she wanted the seat. The video is grainy and you cannot really see what happened before it started. But everyone has a complete opinion anyway. I read through hundreds of comments. Men saying they are tired of being expected to sacrifice comfort by default. Women saying this is what happens when you raise men without basic manners. Some people pointing out the woman looks completely able-bodied. Some people saying ability is not always visible. Some people saying the real issue is that public transport is underfunded. One person saying this whole debate proves society is collapsing. One person saying it proves society is finally having the right conversations. I close the app, make coffee, sit by the window. Think about what I actually believe. I believe in helping people who need help. I believe in asking when you need something. I believe tired is tired regardless of gender. I believe silent expectation is a form of entitlement whoever does it. I also believe that women have been dismissed and ignored enough times. That asking out loud feels pointless or risky to some of them. I believe men have been conditioned to perform chivalry. So automatically they stopped asking whether it makes sense. I believe neither of those beliefs cancels the other out. I believe most people arguing online do not actually believe complex things. They believe in winning. And the person in the bus video is just a proxy for everything else they feel. I go back to the bus the next morning, get my seat. No one stares at me. No one needs anything. I read my book for 6 stops. A kid drops a juice box near me. I pick it up and hand it back. His mom smiles and says, "Thanks." Nobody makes a video. Nobody argues in the comments. Nobody writes a think piece. It just happens and then it is over. I think maybe that is the answer. Not a policy, not a rule. Just paying attention to the actual humans around you, not the category. Not the gender, not the ideological role they represent. Just the person who looks like they need something. And when you need something, maybe just ask for it out loud. Like a person. Devin texts me later that week. Says he told his girlfriend about our conversation. She said I sound insufferable. He says he kind of agrees, but also kind of does not. I text back a single thumbs up. He sends a laughing emoji. I think about how most real conversations end like this. Not with agreement, but with something still open. The bus the next Monday is less crowded. I get a window seat easily. Sit down, plug in my earphones, look out the window. A man in his 60s boards and looks around for a seat. There are none left. I am the youngest person sitting. Everyone around me is either older or clearly struggling. I am 27 and I have been sitting for 4 minutes. I get up, offer him my seat. He looks surprised. Says, "Thank you, young man," and sits down carefully. I stand the rest of the way. It costs me nothing. It costs me literally nothing. And I chose it because I wanted to, not because someone glared. That is the whole thing, I think. The choice matters. When you remove the choice, you remove something important. Something that makes the act worth anything at all. Marcus texts me later, says he got glared at on the bus again today. Asks what I would have done. I say I would have smiled and looked back at my phone. He says he gave up his seat again. I ask if the woman said thank you. He says no. I say nothing. He says he still thinks it was the right thing to do. I say then it was. He says, but you would not have done it. I say I would not have done it under those conditions. No, he says we are different people. I say yes, we are. He says he thinks I'm going to end up in a viral video one day. One, say probably. I say I will try to look good for the camera. He sends a laughing emoji. We make plans for lunch on Friday. I close my phone and look out the window. The city passes by. Strangers in windows. Strangers on corners. Everyone carrying something I cannot see. I think about the woman who stared. I think about the pregnant woman who smiled. I think about Devin's ex-girlfriend. I think about my sister and her power dynamics. I think about Marcus standing on the bus. Number thanks, no acknowledgement, just standing. I think about the old man who seemed genuinely surprised, like he had not expected it. I wonder when basic human acknowledgement became too much to ask for. I wonder when expecting courtesy became weakness. I wonder when giving courtesy became oppression. I wonder how we got here from just a bus seat. My stop comes, I get off, walk home in the early evening. The air is cooler now. I pass a couple arguing on the street. The man is saying he does everything for her. The woman is saying she never asked him to. I walk faster, get home, take off my shoes, sit on the floor for a second, do nothing. Then I get up, make dinner, and forget about all of it until the next morning on the bus, where it starts again. Be me, 27, still sitting by the window, still paying attention. MFW, I cannot tell anymore if I am the problem or the solution. MFW, maybe that is the most honest place to be. MFW, the bus does not care either way. MFW just keeps moving. Thursday comes and Marcus cancels lunch. Says he has a team meeting that ran long. I eat alone at the noodle place near the office. A woman at the next table is crying quietly into her phone. She is talking to someone and her voice is very low. I cannot hear the words, just the tone, which sounds like the end of something. Nobody around her reacts. The restaurant keeps going. Plates moving, people talking, someone laughing at a video. I wonder if she wants someone to notice or not. I do not do anything. I eat my noodles. I look at my phone. I feel vaguely guilty about both options. When I leave, she is still there, still on the phone, still quiet. I think about her on the walk back. There is a version of masculinity that would have intervened, checked if she was okay, offered a napkin or a kind word. Maybe that would have helped. There is another version of masculinity that knows. Sometimes people cry in public and want to be left alone. And deciding for her which kind of moment this is its own form of not listening. I could not tell which version was correct, so I did nothing. And now I have to live with having done nothing, which is its own kind of answer, I suppose. Get back to the office. Someone has brought in cake for a birthday. Everyone gathers in the kitchen. I eat a slice and talk about nothing for 15 minutes. It feels good. Uncomplicated. Just sugar and small talk. No one is arguing about anything. On the bus home, I get a seat near the back. The bus is fuller than usual. A man around my age is standing next to a seated teenager. Teenager's on his phone, headphones in, completely elsewhere. The standing man glances down a few times, but says nothing. Nobody expects the teenager to move. Nobody glares at him. I notice this. Teenager is young, male, seated. Everyone just accepts that he stays there. Nobody applies the silent pressure. This is the part that is hard to explain without sounding like a grievance collector, because I am not trying to collect grievances. I am just noticing patterns. And the pattern is that the expectation is not neutral. It has a direction. It flows one way more than the other. And the people it flows toward are mostly okay with it. Until one day they are not. My stop comes again. I get off again. Same corner, same evening air, same walk home through the same streets. I pass a group of women walking together, loud and laughing about something. One of them bumps into me slightly and does not look back. I step aside and keep walking. I do not feel anything about it. It was nothing. A shoulder graze on a busy street happens 50 times a day to everyone. But I think about how a man doing that to a woman would be written about differently, would feel different to her, would carry a different weight, and both things are true at once. The bump was nothing, and the context makes the same bump not nothing for someone else. And holding both truths simultaneously is exhausting. I get home, sit on my couch, think about nothing useful. Then think about everything again. I decide to write something down. Not to post anywhere, just for myself. To see what I actually think when I am honest. I write, I think most people want fairness but disagree on what it looks like. I write, I think some men use feminism as a punching bag for personal frustration. I write, I think some women use patriarchy as a catch-all that stops conversations. I write, I think both sides have real points wrapped in real defensiveness. I write, I think the bus seat thing is small. I write, I think the bus seat thing is also the whole thing compressed into one moment. I write, I think I would rather be a person who reads situations than follows rules. I write, I think I'm still figuring out how to be that person. I close the Notes app. I do not look at it again. I watch a video about deep sea fish. They are completely indifferent to gender politics. Friday comes, Marcus is back and we do lunch. He tells me his girlfriend got into an argument online last night about the viral bus video. She is on the side of the woman who wanted the seat. I ask what Marcus thinks. He says he agrees with his girlfriend. I ask if he would agree if they were not together. He laughs and says probably still yes, but with less confidence. We talk about other things after that. Work, a movie we both want to see, whether the noodle place changed their recipe. Normal Friday lunch conversation, the kind that does not end up on the internet. On the way back to the office, we pass a construction site. All male workers, loud machinery, heat, dust. One of them whistles at a woman walking by. She keeps walking, jaw tight, eyes forward. The workers laugh. Marcus shakes his head. I shake my head. I think about this in the context of everything else. This is real. This is the thing that makes women walk faster. This is what my sister means when she talks about public space. And I think it is completely unacceptable. And I think it has nothing to do with bus seats. And I think people make that connection anyway. And I understand why, even if I think it muddles things. We get back to the office. Someone has left more cake from yesterday in the kitchen. I take a second slice. Marcus takes a third. The afternoon passes without incident. Emails, a call, some code review. Completely ordinary. The best kind of day. On the bus home on Friday, the energy is different. People are looser, more relaxed. Someone has a small Bluetooth speaker playing something quiet. The driver does not say anything about it. I do not get a seat. I stand by the door the whole ride. No one glares at me to move. No one expects anything from me. Just a man standing on a bus going home. Tired, fed, a little thoughtful, with no conclusions. Which might be the most accurate state there is. I get off at my stop. The evening is warm now. Different from the cool earlier in the week. I walk home slowly. I think about all the conversations I had this week. Marcus, Devon, my sister, the notes I wrote to myself. Nobody convinced anybody of anything definitive, but everyone left with something to think about. I think that is probably the best outcome available. Not resolution, not a winner, just people thinking slightly harder than before about a bus seat. I think the reason the bus seat matters is not because of the seat. It is because it is the smallest possible version of a much larger question. Who has to give, who gets to take, and who decides? And when you compress that question into one tired person on a commute, it stops being abstract. It stops being a debate for think pieces. It is just a Tuesday. And on a Tuesday, most people are just trying to get home, not to be symbols, not to represent anything, just to sit down for a minute. I get home, take off my shoes, stand in my kitchen for a second doing nothing. Then I make dinner. Weekend arrives. I do not take the bus. I walk everywhere. The city is different on foot, slower, more detail. I notice faces more. I notice who holds doors and who does not. I notice nobody is keeping score out loud. Sunday evening, I take a walk to the park, sit on a bench near the fountain, watch people pass. Nobody knows I spent the whole week thinking about bus seats. A couple walks by holding hands. An old man feeds pigeons with a dedication I respect. Two kids argue over a scooter. Their mother separates them without raising her voice. She looks exhausted in a very specific way, not unhappy, just carrying the weight of managing small humans all day. I think that is genuinely hard. I think about all the things that are genuinely hard for people, that are not about ideology, just load-bearing, daily, invisible labor. That does not get acknowledged because it does not go viral. I walk home as it gets dark. Monday is coming. The bus is coming, and whatever comes with it. I think I will just keep paying attention, not to win anything, not to prove anything. Just because the people around me are interesting and real, even the ones who glare without asking. Even the ones who perform their values publicly. Even the ones who stand there holding the rail saying nothing. Even me. The bus is just the bus. MFW, but also the bus is everything. MFW, I need to stop riding the bus. MFW, I am absolutely going to keep riding the bus.